Welcome back to another episode of the World Hard Enduro podcast. We interview James Stearns, the founder of Silver Kings Hard Enduro, and also the second round of the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship.
He shares some really good information from on the ground heading into this race. And we will also be discussing extra information related to this race, such as where it is, when it is, and what you can expect from the race itself. We hope you enjoy this episode. Brandon, let's get into that interview.
All right, James, welcome to the World Hard Enduro podcast, man.
Thank you. Good to be here.
For those listeners that don't know who you are, do you mind just giving a brief self-introduction and your role at Silver Kings?
Well, I'm the founder of Silver Kings Hard Enduro. Started here in Idaho. This is our fourth year. Me, myself, I was pretty much a racer. Finished up with business, successful in business, decided to race the world, raced pretty much everything and anything. I've done Erzberg, I've done multiple Romaniacs finishes, attempted gold, Sea to Sky last year, Expania a couple times, pretty much all of them. And so I saw an opportunity here in Idaho of a mountain and a place that had a venue that I thought could compete on the world stage. And unfortunately, I used to race in the area and it was my favorite race. Now I manage it. So now all I do is run a chainsaw, get stressed, get chased around by moose. It's a wild place. This is a different race and a different mountain. We've had people run off by moose, chased by moose out of basins, run into bears. It's wild country.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Out of all those races that you competed in inside your career, what is one that really stood out to you?
Oh, they all have their different style, and I'm consider myself fairly observative. So I'm looking at all the different races, all the different formats. I know pretty much all the promoters. For example, Alistrum. I was there in January, and it was a surprise to me, but after 8 hours of riding in the expert or silver vet class, I finished at about under 7 hours to be greeted by the podium in third place.
Oh,
so that was in January. So I'm still kicking on.
Yeah, awesome, man. And you spoke a little bit about the history of Silver Kings. Do you mind giving our listeners just a little bit more details of where it began and like how long has Silver Kings actually been running for now, and then also under your kind of supervision as the founder?
Yeah, it ran for a few years on the property, and it was a different race. It was the guys put in a lot of hard work, and it was kind of in the infancy of hard enduro. And really, if you can imagine having two big mountains, everything ran more traverse, if you will. Okay. The mountain is incredibly steep. It's incredibly brushy, giant timber down. And in all fairness, they basically, and at the skill level of the riders, they ran everything traversely. We've come in over the last 4 years, and this will be our fourth consecutive year. We literally took the traverse and turned the whole mountain riding like this to like this. And it's changed everything. And it's been a lot of heavy lifting. We have a lot of heavy duty projects, and it's showing fruition. It's interesting. The cutting and the work from digging, Pulaski's, somewhat similar to almost mountain bike trail building sometimes, just to get riders into areas we need to get them into. And what's nice is you put in this work every year, and in the next year, it's more of a cleanup than a earth moving build. And the reason we put so much time into it and we can get into it later, is we definitely have a philosophy and a strategy on what we do with our race and what we present for our racers.
That's really cool. And I think from your experience as being a racer, you know, going to all these events, you've got the qualification, the experience to know what these top riders actually are looking for with regarding to a race. And then there's also other aspects for safety, and just figuring out just a route that makes sense, you know, that there's no real switchbacks on each other or cutting over each other where there has to be a lot of marshals and a lot of people. So I think that's really cool. One thing that really stands out to me about this race, and I'm speaking from someone that hasn't yet joined this race, but looking from the outside in, it looks like the venue is just so crazy. Like having it being a ski resort in winter, you've got the gondolas going up to the top, so for spectators it's a lot easier to get up onto the mountain and to see some of these sections. How did this actually affect your decision on using this location, and like how does this like make this race unique compared to others?
That's the only reason I took this race on. When I saw the venue and I looked at the potential of what the terrain had to offer, the mountain, the resort, all the amenities of the resort, actually the attitude of the town, that's the city council, that's the police department, mayor, everything together is why I put the investment. I put a significant investment into this mountain. And this is the biggest event monetarily for the entire community each year.
Wow.
And that's for a ski resort that has Christmas and skiing and all of these things. So we bring a lot of money into the community, and the people are really happy to see us. They like the dirt bikes. The kids are, you know, just giving full gas signs all day long.
Epic.
And it's really an amazing thing. And, you know, with having the ski resort, it's crazy. I know you probably have seen the social media and the YouTube and you see everything going on, and it truly is. It's the best way I can explain at our event. We tee up a roller coaster and you get up to the top, and once it starts to descend, there's no stopping till it's over. This year we've kind of actually taken back a step, actually. Working more on efficiency.
Okay.
Just on an efficiency, a really smooth format, because it can wear riders out. I've had the comment that not just the racing, they're just like, hey, so much is going on in 3 days. Like you don't have a breath from the parade into the prologues, into the racing, into the street rhythm, into the next day racing. And we do a lot of other fun things in between with kind of intermediary prize givings and things like this. It's just, there is no rest. And this year, again, it's amazing. If it comes off as planned, it usually does, it'll be good. We have some tricks. We have some tricks up our sleeves. I'm known for surprises. I like to change. I like to change things around. I like to take big bites, and sometimes you pay for it if you want to be on the cutting edge. But we have a great team, and and as you guys know, especially this type of race, you can't do it without an incredible team.
Exactly.
We're not just marking. I mean, we're digging. We're cutting. We're in a hostile environment. We've had past this time, half a foot of snow,
Wow.
Day before the race. Like there is no for sure. And you need, in these mountain conditions, you need tough people. And fortunately, I've got a tough crew. So we all get it done together.
Yeah, the team is so important. And now, it's 2025, the first year that your event is joining the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship. There's a sense of pride and just, not relief, but because the race isn't over yet, but sense of pride of you having this ability to have this race inside your home kind of track or inside a place that you've been working on so much. What does it mean to you to have the FIM Hard Enduro, have the stop come to your track and to your race?
To be honest, it was expected.
Nice.
It's not a surprise. we've been working together as a team. When I decided to put this race in the very beginning of the first day, that was the plan. It was always the plan. There was no other plan. I know you guys have reached out and asked some things, and we don't have time for this podcast, but I know you guys asked, why are you not in the U.S. Hard Enduro Series?
Yeah.
That's a whole podcast in itself.
Right.
And part of the reason we're not in that series is because I took the road that I will not compromise and substitute quality, period. Because the day I took this race on, it was intended to be in the World Championship Series. Because quite honestly, I didn't want to be a race promoter. I like to race. I like to ride. That's what I do. I didn't want to be a promoter. So if I'm going to take this on, well, that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Not a national series. No, it was taken on to be in the World Championship Series.
Yeah. That's epic, man. I think the story is super cool. It's super cool to hear, and you can just see from the outside looking in the amount of time and effort that your team as well as yourself is putting into it. I mean, also just breaking history with, or making history at least with the biggest prize money like part getting given away at a hard enduro race. I think it is a total of about 100,000 USD that you're giving away to riders this year. Maybe you can share some more about how that's going to work for this year.
Yeah, my language can be somewhat colorful, so I'll try and keep it PG. I guess I don't mess around. We're trying to change the sport, and I put my money where my mouth is. I find it silly with these contingencies where, yes, theoretically, if you bought $20 million worth of product, we would give you $2 million worth of discounts. Well, that doesn't pay your rent. And that doesn't pay for the fuel that goes in your bike. And what we're doing, and let's be clear, as a base at the beginning, just the beginning, we've added it up. We added it up the other day. We are giving $100,000 cash to the riders, split between amateurs, pro women, pro men, all the way through. And it was funny enough because when I did the budget for the last $500, I was like, hey, we have $500 left. What should we do with that $500? We have, $99,500. Where should we put the last $500? And every year we have a costume contest in the parade, where the award is $500. And these people go all out. Like, you need to be clever and you need to make it stick. And that's the last $500 of the $100,000. On top of it, I did some research, and as far as enduro, hard enduro, there's never been a prize giving anywhere close to this in the history of the world, period. And a lot of people ask, well, how can you do this? And it's complicated. You cannot rely on getting it off of your riders. You just can't charge that type of an amount to your riders. So you have to be clever. And that is having good sponsors, good relationships, having alternative things. I mean, I have a hashtag that was a joke, but I take it quite seriously. It's hashtag only at Silver Kings. There's a lot of things we do, and it's only at Silver Kings. And for me, it's a challenge to the industry of, I would agree, hard enduro is good. And I don't know that it's been great yet. I think there's more room to get to great.
Yeah.
And with that, like, I look at, okay, well, what's hashtag only at Silver Kings? I mean, you could laugh at like the silly stuff, and you could go, hey, Silver Kings beer, which we sell out every year. But we also do youth scholarships. We did 5 youth scholarships. We had 15, 20 applicants write essays, free entry. a lot of, bonuses, etc., trying to help out with the sport. Only at Silver Kings. We are the only one, we give a free bike away to an amateur finisher. So an amateur finisher, and we did it last year as well, they'll go home with a 2025 KTM 300 XCW Champions Edition. And the concept behind that is we reward the pros and we reward everyone else, but what can you incentivize the average guy or girl to get an extra ride in, to make sure maybe their fitness is one tick better, maybe make sure their bike is in a little better running condition, or get that put that gummy tire on. Because when you're out there preparing for a race, most people won't podium, but if you sign up for the right class at our race, you have a damn good chance of finishing. And that's something we can all push for. And if you look at getting a free bike, you're not buying anything. You need a finisher medal and you need to be an amateur.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's so cool, man. And I think that's also what hard enduro is all about. Like, we see a lot of what the top guys do, right? Like, we see the top 10, the top 20 in the world absolutely doing things that we as amateur rider, or myself at least, I'm not speaking on your behalf here, but as an amateur rider, it's just impossible, to see what they're doing. It's just incredible to see. But they, for an organizer like you, the money and like the vibe that comes from those 500 amateurs that enter, or those 400 amateurs that enter that race. Like, those people bringing those costumes and, just making it such an atmosphere, making it such a vibe, paying the entries fee, kind of creating this bigger ecosystem. That's what hard enduro is all about, actually. It's just that complete package of watching pros do what they do on a gold level track, but then also being an amateur, being able to enter and also have the chance to win something pretty phenomenal. And I think that that's pretty cool. We're speaking a little bit now about your kind of gold, silver, bronze. I think that's how you structure your levels. How do you, as an organizer, try to create a track that allows those amateurs to get through to the finish line, but still creating a track that a gold rider can just be like really challenged and we can see those skills come out?
It is an incredible feat, and it's expensive.
I can imagine.
And it takes a lot of resources. Taking it back a step, one of the things I looked at creating here is this isn't a race weekend. This is what I would call a destination race. And it starts on a Thursday, it ends on a Saturday. Now that we're on our 4th year, people start rocking up Monday, Tuesday. They're there through the whole week. And that is that vibe. That's having the parade, having these different things. We have a water park, indoor water park at the resort. They have downhill mountain biking the day after we finish. There's so many activities. There's a pump track for the kids. It's just the restaurants, the venues. So people have made it a destination, not just a weekend. And again, this was all planned out. And we had the ability, from traveling the world over and over and over again for the last 8-9 years, racing all these races, and knowing Martin and spending some time with Carl and and all these guys have made these amazing events. And you pick and choose, and it's actually quite complicated because you can't just copy an event, because a lot of people don't realize there's a social implication of why their event works. If you do a certain event somewhere, you may take it to another area and have the exact terrain, the same setup, and it will not work because of socially. When we're here, it's a lot of a different thing, because when you go to Western Europe, there's not a lot of places to ride. So people are hungry, and they will come to the Woodstock of hard enduro. But when you're here, you can go 10 miles down the road and ride incredible terrain, from sun up to sundown. So, and you can go camping with your family in the entire area and ride all over the place. So you really need to bring something special. And if you don't bring that special, it's it's not just about the terrain, but getting back to your point, one obviously was the Romaniacs, and Romaniacs is the most expensive race. It is, and there's a reason why. It takes an amazing amount of work to meld in. When I started, it was bronze, silver, gold, and then it went iron, bronze, silver, gold, and then it went atom, and the reason is you're trying to match and you're trying to give something, to all skill levels. And if all skill levels feel that they can have a go and they can progress, there are some races that they're just, let's just call them pass fail. And you have amateurs just throwing their bikes at things, destroying their equipment, destroying themselves. And there's a lot of races like that, and they don't grow. They'll hang in there, but they don't grow. And so we've gone through the painstaking process of testing and making sure that, okay, this race is for bronze, that yes, it may be, yes, they'll be challenged. Yes, they'll be a little bit dirty, but they have a chance to keep progressing. And we've just seen it. We see our case studies where, someone's been riding a bike for 2-3 years and they enter their first hard enduro, and it was a 4-hour time limit. And they finished at 3 hours and 58 minutes, where some of the top bronze people finished in an hour. But when you talk to the person who finished at 3 hours and 58 minutes, you would think they won the Olympics. Yeah. They're like, it was hard, but I kept going and I kept going and I kept going, and they got there. Where a lot of races, they're just stopped. If the level's too high and it doesn't match, it's it. And, we're very, very conscientious about how we design that. So to do that, you have to have, somewhat formed like a Romaniacs, where if you're going to have a hoop, in this case, the bronze, that is the base map, the base loop, and then silver and gold go off of that loop. But it's complicated. And if you don't have the right scoring and timing, you have to have everything right. And, that was one of the issues I ran into with the US Hard Enduro series. And we could not come to agreement that I needed higher tech timing, and we found it. Yeah. And so, and it works. And, a lot of people, trying to be smart with this. I guess it's simple math, but if you have 10 checkpoints and you stock it with 3 individuals per checkpoint, that's 30 people. Yeah. And if you have 3 days, that's 90 work days. 90 work days times 8 hours is 540 hours. Yeah. People need to think that, and they wonder why, we don't have enough volunteers, we can't do it. It's like, well, sometimes technology can help you out. And our technology is, you just watched Erzberg, same timing system. Right. Funny that. And it's not our first time.
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I think that needs to happen, that level of progression using technology in order to, reduce the amount of man hours, so that man hours can be put into other aspects of the event, other part of the ecosystem. Yeah.
Would you rather be stuck at a checkpoint watching people go by, or helping in other parts of the race where either sweep riding or anything? There's so much that needs to be done that you really need to, again, just like how we've, really maximized all these other options to bring in the resources and funds to provide what we do. We have to be efficient. And then I've created a couple businesses and they've worked out, and I look at this as the same as why wouldn't it? And, that's what it needs to be. That's the only way you get efficiency and design something that, I think will stand the test of time.
Yeah. So James, it's 2025. It's the first time you're part of the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship. I've heard through the talkings of speaking to people that are there, there have been about 15 top world riders, so European riders, coming across to this event for your 2025 event, which is happening next weekend. the line's going to be stacked with Americans, the top American riders. We're always talking about it here on the podcast. You know, the Euros versus the Americans. The same with motocross. What are your predictions for this race for 2025? We know that Manny just came off an absolutely stellar Erzberg rodeo. He's tough to beat at the moment. Tristan Hart seems like the guy from, you know, North America that seems to be able to get handed to him. What are your thoughts for this race?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we've talked about it a little bit, and being in the industry so long, and you know, with my racing, and I pretty much I know all of those guys personally. So everybody, and it's going to be interesting. You know, Manny has the home court advantage at Erzberg, no doubt, and Tristan has a home court advantage here. He's been racing here for, you know, probably he's raced a mountain probably 5 times. So he knows the terrain, and there's a different feel. We have this stuff, you can look it up. It's called bear grass, and it's dry and it's just grass, and it looks very green, and it is slick as hell, slick as hell. You'll be on your ass, and we've spent a lot of time on it. When you're hiking around in it, it's worse, and he knows how to deal with it. So I think Tristan's gonna. If Tristan was ever gonna win, this is his chance, definitely, because it's home court advantage. But the other thing, for the most part, this mountain is only ridden once a year, and that's for this event. And we've allowed no track walking, and you know, but you know, we're on 2 giant mountains. Like, you couldn't physically, in the, I don't know how many kilometers, it's over 20 miles on the Gold Loop. There's, I think, 12,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. Wow. Like, you're not going to go track walk that in an afternoon.
No, that's like, a full on arc. Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to take you, you know, a couple days. And we've really changed it around too. So, and I think that'll be neat, because it's not like the same tracks. So the tracks have been changed a lot, and the orientations have been changed a lot. So Tristan will definitely have the feel of the bear grass, of the rock. Then there's a lot of rock, and he knows how to hit it. But the orientation of the tracks and the pitches are going to be new, and they're going to, you know, so yeah. I don't know if he had a chance, but I think he has a chance, no doubt.
Yeah, that's epic. I'm excited to see this. It's definitely going to be a massive battle between the kind of the European and American guys, and I'm super keen to see it. And I just think from a point of a perspective from a hard enduro, there's just never been as much like a stacked field like there is now. Like, I mean, we watch a lot of supercross and motocross and stuff, and you see the 450 and 250 guys stack classes inside 250 and 450. I feel like hard enduro is the same. Like, we've got top 10 riders that are really world riders, you know, and we haven't had that for until now, I think, you know, like, we've really got these stacked. Like, back in the day, it was just, you know, the Jarvises, the Manny's dad, Letty, you know, like, just some of those top guys. Alfredo was also back in the day there, but now it's just a full gate, and I'm excited to see how these guys duke it out. And the Americans are like, your guys are doing really well. They like, their level is getting up there.
Yeah, we have some solid riders, and they have experience on the mountain too, which is going to help them. And you know, we have a little, you know, I'll give a little bit of a surprise, but we came up with the idea of a start that is going to be, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's a start straight into a hill climb, and the first 16 will be staggered from their prologue positions. And the hill is called Full Gas. And to see it, you can't even have an appreciation that it is so big. So, for example, you know, we had one of our really good riders, and, you know, he can clean it, and with a run of maybe 60 to 80 meters, third, fourth gear, pinned all the way to the top. 43 seconds of straight pin.
What?
That is a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
It is
that's a big,
time.
Big hill.
and we're wondering what's going to happen when that first, and they're going to be basically at the base of it with maybe 15 feet of run up, 20 feet of run up, and they're all going to, it's plenty wide and there's space for all of them. And with the FPVs, all hell's going to break loose. It'll be incredible. I'm excited. We're all thinking like, what the hell's going to happen? Like it's going to be interesting. The guys are going to have a challenge. So looking forward to it.
Us as well. I think that pretty much wraps up our interview today. James, thank you for taking the time on your Friday evening. I know that you're hard at work trying to get the last little pieces together for this race. It's been epic speaking with you, and let's see what this event has in store for us for 2025.
Yeah, I think the word that keeps banging back and forth between all of us, what we've been speaking, the Americans and the Euros, battle. It's going to be a battle. Absolutely.
Yeah, so pretty cool interview with James. I think that he gave some really good insights with what this event has in store for the riders, spectators, and just for pretty much everyone inside that community. Super excited to see what happens this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool to get, an organizer's insight and perspective on a race leading into a race, especially one like this.
Yeah, one key point that he mentioned that I really do enjoy and like to hear from an organizer is that he is a racer himself.
Yes.
He's been traveling around the world. He's been racing all the major races and knows the organizers. So he really, truly does know what racers are looking for. And I think that that's really key when it comes to an organizational role.
And I really enjoyed how passionate he is about this race.
Yes.
It's clear that he has invested a lot of time and energy, not only him, but his team, into creating this event. So I think that it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I agree. So what can we expect from the weekend? He did share some insights with what you could expect, but I think just from what we found on the website, can you give us some dates, times, locations, that type of thing?
Sure. So this is the 2025 Toyota Silver Kings Hard Enduro race. It'll be taking place at Silver Mountain Resort in Kellogg, Idaho, USA. So we're heading over the pond with the boys for round 2 of the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship. This is a 3-day event scheduled for June 12th, 13th and 14th, 2025. So this is kind of where we are looking for the riders to be heading over in the days heading up to this race.
I'm pretty sure a lot of them are en route to the US already, to be honest, maybe to get acclimatized or just get used to the area, surrounding areas. I don't think that would be a bad idea.
I agree. But I do think, obviously, from the interview, we heard that riders cannot walk the track. So they really only can get used to a bit of a time difference and maybe some weather difference. But other than that, there's not too much, I guess, that they can do heading into this race.
Hey, if I was the guys, I'd definitely take my mountain bike and go hit the Gondi and get some runs in, some laps in.
Not a bad idea, actually. Just get some trail time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what we can expect with regards to the race format, this event, as I said, is a 3-day event. You've got a prologue, off-road races, and there's also a street rhythm enduro cross style race. So their classes, they've got a gold class, a silver class, and a bronze class, or at least these are the courses. They've got 3 separate courses tailored towards different skills, levels, as well as age groups. So I'm going to try and explain the 3-day race program as best as I can. It is a little bit confusing. There's a lot going on. I would say it's not your standard structure necessarily from what we see from an FIM race. So I'm going to try my best to explain what we can look forward to for this event. So it is a kind of, riders will start coming in, pre-entry is like Tuesday, Wednesday. They can come enter for the race and kind of do all of those like check-in processes. There is a parade at 7 p.m. on the Wednesday night. Now, he did mention that the parade can get a little bit rowdy 40. There's a dress-up competition, I think.
Yep, that he's allocated a budget towards, so like the remaining $500 that he had in the budget there. Just off topic, I was quite surprised actually with how like on point he was with his budget though.
Right.
Like to like it ended off with literally $500 of 100,000 USD. I think that shows a really good business mind behind it.
Yeah, it shows that they know exactly where their money's going and they're pretty organized with their race.
Yes, but then coming back to the parade, best dressed, I think he's going to get a good bit of prize money there.
Yeah, he mentioned that it's not just about best dress. You can't just be the wildest dress out there. You got to be clever with your dress. So I'm interested to see what that translates to in real life.
Yeah, that will be funny. I think you'll see a lot of moustaches out there.
Maybe some animal outfits too.
Yeah, let's see.
I kind of relate this a little bit to Earthberg, to be honest. I feel like it's a very similar vibe. It seems like a bit of a festival atmosphere. As he mentioned, there's so much going on over the weekend. It's more of a destination race. So I can imagine that, it's kind of like the American version of Earthberg.
Yeah, I agree.
So in the schedule, we have mainly Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those are the 3 days. So on Thursday, you have your prologues. So you've got bronze class Fun Enduro in the morning, the silver class in midday, and the gold class Super Kings at about 4 p.m. Then you've got your main event on that evening at about 6 and your award ceremony in the later at night about 7:30. So this is kind of what Thursday is looking like for your prologue. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure how long it is, but riders have to do at least one lap. And I think they have the ability to do a second lap if they want to. I think it's optional. Obviously, I guess most riders would do 2 laps just to try and get obviously a faster lap, especially if you're not familiar with a prologue. Your first lap is more like understanding it there. Although I think there is for the gold class a sight lap. So they get to kind of see, there's one rider every 15 seconds. So they get to kind of see what it is that they're racing. And then 2 laps to kind of do the best that they can to get that fastest time. I think the top, it kind of has like a staggered event. So it says here that the top 15 will have 5 minutes plus 1 lap for maybe the silver. And then the gold, the top 20 will be 5 minutes plus 1 lap for a gold staging. And then there's a gold final, which is the top 20, 6 minutes plus 1 lap. And then the award ceremony later in the evening. So that's kind of how your prologue is going to look.
Yeah, I'm interested to see also how that affects, I guess it affects starting orders for the next day, Friday, which is off-road day 1.
Yes, off-road day 1 will be on the Friday, June 13th. So we have the bronze, silver, and gold. It's kind of between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on that day. The gold start is first, so there's a full mountain course. Top qualifying 16 staggered starts. So I guess the first 16 will be, as you said, staggered, and then the remaining rows of 10 every 30 seconds, and there is a 5-hour time limit. So if I'm not mistaken, this might be what he was talking about with regards to that I'm not sure if this will be on the main race day or on this race day, that mountain run up, that, that surprising little nugget that he shared about this, 45-second run up of a hill. So I'm not sure if it's this day or the main race day, but 5 hours is kind of the allotted time for this first off-road day.
Yeah, I'm not sure what day it is, to be fair, but super exciting.
Yes.
I know where I would be standing if I was at Silver Kings this year.
Definitely at that mountain.
Right.
Maybe at the top, because I think if you're at the bottom, there could be some bugs coming your way.
Right.
And then we head to the main day, which is off-road day 2. The gold class is starting at about 2 p.m. and it's called the Thunder Bowl Finale. So after 2 hours of race time, the final hill climb is called the Kingslayer Hill Climb. It leads up to the finish line. So it seems like it's a separate section. So they have 2 hours of racing and then this section will be opened. 30 minutes after the leader has passed through this area, this hill climb will be closed. riders who have crossed the finish line via this area or this hill climb will be ranked in their finishing order, and riders who did not finish it will be ranked based off of the correctly passed checkpoints. Top qualifying 16 staggered start, and then the remaining rows as well, rows of 10 every 30 seconds. That's kind of what we're looking at for the main race day on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this, and I think through the interview that we just had with James, it's quite clear that a lot of time and effort has gone into preparation. I mean, in just this event, not only trying to get the route sorted, but also just all the logistics around the race. I mean, things like just getting sponsors on board, things like that is difficult. Like having Toyota as their primary sponsor, awesome, right? To see different brands like that in the sport.
I agree. I think it's cool to see how they do things, honestly, a little bit differently to what we see normally, and having, as you said, new sponsors, some different brands. It kind of, I guess, opens our eyes and the eyes of, the industry to see, oh, okay, like there are other options with regards to how we promote and support our events.
And it's also a little bit of information that he did share with us regarding them not being part of the US Hard Enduro Championship. I think that was super interesting, and also leads us confirms this way of the way that they do things is so different that they can't even technically be part of the championship. So maybe a little bit more on that later. Not too sure what the politics is behind that. We have asked, as he mentioned, so we are curious, as I'm sure you guys are. But yeah, that's
maybe for another episode.
Exactly.
But I would like to point out that in 2024, this actually was this race, the Silver Kings race, was the first time in North America that the My Race Results live tracking and scoring system was used. So that aligns much more with European standards, like, for example, Earthsburg Rodeo. It's more similar to what FIM and what the championship will be looking for than what maybe the US series uses. So I think even in that way, they are moving more towards being aligned with the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship.
True. Few key takeaways, a few key points at least. $100,000 purse for this race, and it doesn't end there. They've got a brand new 2025 KTM 300 factory edition, giving it away to an amateur rider. The list goes on with the amount of support that they're giving. I've heard that they are sponsoring 5 amateur riders or junior riders. Maybe you can share a little bit more about that.
True. They have a scholarship program. So I think a bunch of riders, they kind of had to write an essay, kind of motivation as to why they should be given the sponsorship. I'm not 100% sure what that sponsorship includes, but I do know maybe it's like an entry into the race. I'm not sure. But they do have some riders who are part of this program that were selected. I can give you their names. The first one is Makana Barga. The second one is Tai Cheney. Then we have Katie Crow Swords. We have Thomas Scales.
Oh, wicked.
Right? And then we have Dexter Swart. So these are the riders who kind of got this scholarship and were the winners of this program.
I mean, completely doing things differently. It's the first time I've heard of anything like that.
Same.
That's wicked.
And it's clearly is focusing on juniors as well, right?
Yeah.
It's a junior program, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, man, that's super cool. Super. I think a lot of events can learn from that. But again, it takes money and sponsors, all
True.
of those big things that we know.
Yeah, that is very true. And as you said, Brandon, the prize of the bike, that is for a amateur finisher. So if they finish, I mean, it doesn't even matter what class they were in, right? It could be bronze, silver, gold courses. They just need to finish and they could win that bike. So that is a really cool also thing for the amateurs to consider. You know, it's not like, oh, if I finish, I could get a bike.
How wild is that? Like, just imagine walking away from a race with a brand new bike, having to make space in your trailer on the back of your pickup to put a brand new bike to take home.
And it's like a Champions edition, right?
Yeah. It's wild.
That
cool.
is
cool.
That is awesome. I'm really keen to see which rider gets that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What were the finishes or the podiums look like for 2024?
Actually, we can go back 1 year further and look at 2023.
Okay.
So in 2023, your top 10 riders was Tristan Hart, Ryder LeBlanc, Cody Webb, Colton Haker, Will Royden, Keith Curtis, Matthew Green, Nick Faringer, Brandon Petrie, and Radekes. That was 2023's finishers, top 10.
Some notables there, definitely.
Yes. And then in 2024, there were actually only 3 official finishers.
Oh, wow. So
Right.
tough route.
Right. In 2024, we had Tristan Hart, Ryder LeBlanc, Will Royden, Alfredo Gomez, Kamakana, Keith Curtis, Colton Haker, Ryder Guest, James Flynn, and Chris Stutterfield. So this is your top 10. I guess only the top 3 actually finished, and the rest are awarded those positions based off of how many checkpoints they reached in that race.
Key name there, Tristan Hart.
Tristan Hart, I think he's won this at least 2 times, maybe more, probably more, to be fair. I mean, I think they said that he's been there at least 4 times. So definitely, I think in one of his interviews, he said that, this track or this mountain, this resort is only a couple hours from his home.
No way.
So
really?
Definitely more of a backyard place. And it's going to be a home advantage.
Yes. It's pretty much what we saw with Manny and Erzberg. I think
it is.
This is something that it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a really tough one for Manny to win. Do I think he has the chance of winning? 100%.
Yes.
I mean, he's definitely the guy with the target on his back at the moment.
Absolutely.
Billy is right there. Just a few little mistakes here and there that he needs to tighten up on. I think this is from what we see, which I think that would help his chances a lot.
Yep.
But hometown advantage, Tristan Hart, he knows this place. He knows what are the bear grass.
Bear grass. I have no idea what that is.
Me neither.
No, I never heard of that before in my life. But now we know bear grass is a thing.
Yeah, and imagine if the riders listen to our episodes. And
well, I hope they do, because he did also
info.
mention putting on a soft tire or a gummy tire at some point.
Usually a hard enduro
I guess that
thing.
is a hard enduro thing. You're right.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see what's going to happen, because I think that if any race is going to be a change up, this is the one.
Yes, I
Mainly
agree.
because last year we had TKO, right? But TKO is an event that a lot of the riders had been to before. Wasn't necessarily new to the calendar. It's a familiar one. A lot of riders have raced there before. They understand how it works. This is new for so many of those European riders. I mean, we saw Matthew Green on the list and we saw Alfredo Gomez, but I don't see anyone else on this list of previous, let's just say, top 10 finishers. So most of them will not have ridden this terrain before. They will not know what to expect from this race. And if you can't walk the track, everyone who's coming from Europe is on a pretty equal playing field.
Right. For those of you that are listening to or have been listening to our podcast for quite a while, you guys know that we have created this new World Hard Enduro rating system, or ranking system at least. This is a tier 1 race for our ranking system as well.
Correct.
Not only is it the second round of the Hard Enduro, FIM Hard Enduro World Championship, what does our ranking system currently look like after Erzberg? Who's in the lead? What does it look like? What are some changes we seen?
That is actually a really great question. Okay, let me look at our top 10 currently after Erzberg. So we are sitting with Tristan Hart in first. He recently just moved up into first position after Erzberg. He is well ahead of second place, which is Mario Roman. So Tristan Hart sitting on 8 races that he has scored points for. That is almost the most number of races in our list. 440 points. The next place is Mario with 329. So almost 100 points more than Mario, who's sitting in second. We have Will Royden in third, Ryder LeBlanc in fourth, Cody Webb fifth, Theodore Kabachev sixth, Manuel Littenbichler seventh, Francis Moret eighth, Billy Bolt ninth, and Rigo Riaco in 10th. So interesting to see who your top 10 are on a global perspective. And then obviously, depending on how riders do this weekend coming, it's going to really have a big effect on this ranking system.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested to follow this kind of podcast ranking system of ours that we've come up with, just head over to our website. You can see kind of all the rules, the events, that pretty much how we've set this up. So it should answer any questions that you may have, and like basically what we're discussing at the moment. So we just think it's a really cool global approach to try to give recognition not only to the event organizers through our tiered system, but also the racers themselves. So, we know that logistically it's super tough to get across the world with a motorcycle suspension inside a suspension bag, trying to get it through customs, trying to get it through airport security. It's not an easy thing. So, and I don't think a lot of people are able to do that. So it's just trying to get everyone on one document, which I feel like clearly are doing. We've got all of the nations pretty much represented here.
Yes.
In Hard Enduro, at least.
An extensive list of riders. We have almost, I think, over 150 riders on this list. So, you can really see who is consistently racing and doing well. And I think that's the point here, is it's not just about the riders who enter Erzberg or one or two big races here and there and do well, and then that's that. It's clear with Tristan Hart, he's entered Erzberg. That's probably the only tier 1 event that he's entered this year so far. The rest of them have been the US Hard Enduro Series, and he is at the top of this world ranking because he is consistently racing and he's doing well. It's not just I can do well, but at these key races, it's about being consistent. It's about racing, and I feel like that's just a really good example of what a pro athlete is. It's someone who is really dedicated to the sport.
So just to wrap off this episode, what are your predictions for the weekend? Give me your top 3.
Oh, I'm definitely going to say Tristan Hart. In first. I'm going to go, to be honest, it's a little difficult because we don't know exactly who's going. We assume that most of the championship riders are going. I'm gonna say Will Royden.
Wow.
In second.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's doing super well recently. Erzberg was a really great example of that. And then I'm going to put Manny in third. I feel like it's a bold top 3. I know it's a bit unconventional. But I'm going to go Tristan, Will, and Manny.
So for my top 3, I've been thinking long and hard about this.
Okay.
Not really. But I think I'm also going to say Tristan number 1. I'm going to say Manny really close in number 2. I think they're going to duke it out, hopefully give us the battle that we're all looking for. And then in third position, I think an American rider that's been doing really, really well lately is Ryder LeBlond. I think that he maybe has something in the tank for number 3 for a fifth round off the podium. Close behind the factory Husqvarna boy Billy. I think he's going to be difficult as well to beat.
I don't think we can discredit Billy, especially after Erzberg. He showed it's clearly he can keep up even after, some of the injuries from last year. It hasn't stopped him. So I think Billy's definitely going to be up there.
But that pretty much wraps up the episode. Hope you enjoyed the interview with James. And to follow along any of the race information, follow Silver Kings as well as Inside Enduro, which is their kind of sub-brand or another business that they've got running that's promoting the race. And follow us on our social media because that's always helpful and helps support what we do here at World Hard Enduro. But until the next one, we'll see you then.